as Wilco makes a run ahead of it. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp! That's magnificent! The move, and then this, which left Dabby's ass totally stranded.
Hello, and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. My name is Karl, and today with me, we have the one and only Femi. How are you, Femi?
Oh, you took me by surprise there. I was like, where did that come from? Yeah, all good. Ready to get my voice working again. Had a little rest of the voice over the summer. So, raring to go.
Good. And we have a guest with us today. You've probably seen him around. He's been hiding from the sun because, as you know, he's ginger. And gingers don't do too well in the sun. And I'm assuming that in this 40-degree heat, he's been hiding under his pillow or under a rock somewhere because he doesn't want to get a suntan. It's Josh. Josh, we speak all the time in the group. I don't think I've podded with you in a very long time. Has Danny been bullying you again?
No, I think I had a reasonable hairline the last time I podded on here. It's now 2.5 slapheads, I think, is the title of the pod this week. It's been good. Obviously been hiding away from the sun as much as possible and enjoying the fact that my office has air conditioning. But yeah, it's going to be great. I'm loving this heat wave.
That makes one of us because I'm not. I don't do heat. I hate this heat. It's like, do you know what the thing is? Like, this heat in another country is absolutely gorgeous, absolutely lovely. Like, give me this heat in Jamaica or America, like Miami, I'll take it all day. But the heat in England, it's just stifling. It just stays in, especially London. It just stays here. It doesn't go anywhere, and that's what I don't like.
You need to join us on the south coast, Karl. The sea is literally a stone's throw away now from how close I am to it now. It's just amazing. It's so much better. And it's like I've been sweating since it's been 17 degrees in the morning when I walk to the station. I mean, it'd make Prince Andrew cry in envy. I'm sweating that much.
Allegedly. It's moving on. And last but not no means least, the man who makes all this possible, the button pusher himself, it's Danny, the GFP. Danny, how's your new light?
My new lights they're tickety-boo, they're wonderful, and if people want to know what it is, I've done a little video. If someone wants to stalk me, it's even easier to find out where my house is now. I did a video at the front of my the lights at the front of my house, but yeah, they're lovely, Karl. How are you?
I mean, considering you said that if one of us was shitting in your garden, you wouldn't say hello. I don't think that you would care if anyone come to your house. And for anyone in context, I think our dear friend Ellis is near where Chris lives. And I think Danny was moaning that Ellis didn't go and see Chris. And Danny said in one of our WhatsApp groups that if one of us was shitting in his garden, he wouldn't wave at us.
No, none of you fuckers would come and say hello.
You're just a weird one, whatever. Anyway, we are here to obviously talk about Arsenal and the ever merry-go-round of transfers. Because let's be honest, all anyone is interested in at the moment is transfers. So I guess that's where we'll start. And then we'll talk about the pre-season friendly that we had against Everton and also the one this evening or whenever you listen to this with Orlando, I want to say it is. Today?
12:30.
12:30, which I was just discussing with Femi. I don't know if I'm going to stay up for it because I don't know if I can be bothered or whether I'm that really interested, to be honest. But
are you going to sleep in this heat, Karl? You might as well just watch it. And if it's a boring game, the perfect lullaby for you to fall asleep to.
Let me be very honest. Last night was the worst night's sleep I've ever had because it keeps threatening to rain and it hasn't rained once down here.
We were doing that last night. We were all in WhatsApp and we were giving everyone updates on what the weather was like. John was saying, I'm outside, and you were saying you're waiting for no bloody rain. And I was saying, there's rain in here. Like old men moaning at midnight about the state of the weather, all praying for rain.
Yeah, it was horrible. But yeah, you never know. I might stay out. But Josh, let's start with you. So we talk about the Jesus signing because that's what everyone's excited about. Now we finally got him, and you've seen him in Arsenal colours, and you've seen him play 2 games of football. How do you feel that he's going to sort of transform us from the strikers we had last season? Obviously, like I said, and Aubameyang for a little bit, to what we've kind of got now.
I think he's going to be a striker at the level that, thinking of strikers of yesteryear, it's going to have a similar impact to Eduardo. I think similar kind of player, both obviously Brazilian as well. I think that's where we're going to see just this player that has got that kind of instinct, that wants to score goals, and has also got that kind of movement that I think it was amazing. You saw that, he came straight on in his first game, and he'd shown what we'd wanted from Lacazette all during his entire duration at Arsenal. And the same from Aubameyang as well, was that give and go. He could give, but he couldn't go, or he could go, but not give. And we've got a player that can do both things now. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the signing and to see him playing in the Premier League. And especially because all of the Spurs commentators on The Athletic have been playing down how it's not a great signing and Richarlison's better. So what more can we have that lots of Spurs people eating humble pie? Can't be better.
Did you see, any of you see that one of the, I think 90 Minutes or Goal or one of those Muppets tweeted a picture of Man United, Man City, Chelsea and Spurs and their strikers and say which one's going to score the most goals this season? I thought, we're now not even included in the big 6. There's just those 5 teams. I thought we've got Jesus. The man's he's a goal scorer.
But
he scored more in one game than some of those. Go on.
They do it on purpose because they know that Arsenal have one of the biggest fan bases on Twitter, so they know they're going to get a reaction and things like that. All these things are really subtle, like when they do that, because they know someone's going to retweet that, and then Arsenal fans are going to have loads of interaction and loads of tweets, so that builds up their following as well. So
the talk sport effect.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus only scored 14 goals in the league last season. I'm like, yeah, that would have done fucking great for us if we had a striker that scored 14 goals for us last season. We would have finished in the Champions League. I don't think people realise how much this signing is going to push the needle for us. It's going to be revolutionary almost.
Very true. Femi, I'm play devil's advocate here. Like, for me, we've got like a very small pacey striker in Eddie and a very small pacey striker in Jesus as well. Do you think that maybe, and I know this is probably pushing the boat out there, do you think maybe we need probably another striker or someone who can play differently, like someone who's tall and can hold the ball up? Because even if for some reason we're playing against a team with playing a low block and we've got Jesus and he just can't get in behind, and then you bring on Eddie, isn't he kind of the same player?
Yeah, but I think from Arteta was asked this, I think in one of these recent interviews, and what he said was these players are perfect for the style that we want to play. And one thing that I did notice in the game that Josh was talking about when he came on as a sub, they actually played together up front, not one wide. They both played together up front, and I think in the second half of the game against, who did we play last? Everton. I noticed that Pepe played directly up front with Eddie. So I think you can negate some of those fears of, okay, if one way is not working, just throw on 2 strikers. Not many teams do it now. It can cause kind of, especially when you got 2 pacey, ready to close down strikers, it kind of changes the dynamic of a game. And remember, you're working with 5 subs now as well. I think you can, just change that little tweak. Can kind of, especially someone like Eddie, I think he'll thrive with 2 strikers, with a player coming short, linking, giving him the ball. One thing about Jesus as well, he's got good assist stats as well, so he can thread balls in. He can find a pass, he can find a through ball. So a lot of people worry about that, but I just don't see how we're going to fit another striker into this team, to be honest with you. It would just be like a waste, just a super sub basically coming on every now and then.
I think we're obviously going to have a lot more games this season than we did last season. We literally were playing one game a week. And I think with this season being all messed up, especially with the World Cup, Josh, do you feel that maybe there is a need? Because at the moment, our squad is quite heavy. I think there's 30 players like in America. And obviously, we're not expecting all of those 30 players to still be with the club. You know, there's a lot of outgoings that should happen. We'll talk about that in a second. But do you feel that rotation will be the name of the game this season?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the 5 subs rule has come into effect, and we're playing more or less every 3 days or so. I remember when we saw the fixture list come out, and we were just like, "This is ridiculous." Even before TV has got its oar in and shifted some of these fixtures around, it's going to be really interesting just to see how often you can see it with the signings we're making as well. A lot of them are kind of pushing that first team. It's like I think everybody on Twitter today has seen that tweet about Mr. Martin Odegaard and whether or not he'd be starting for us and whether or not to give him the captain's armband. But it shows the quality that we're bringing in a player like Vieira, who we're not actually sure who would come in or out for him, but we know that he would be knocking on the door of that starting 11 because you don't pay that kind of money for a kid to sit on the bench.
I mean, yeah, Danny, like I'll come to you. At the moment, there's a lot of competition for places, but isn't that not what you want in a squad? You don't want people to just think to themselves, "Do you know what, I'm first team, so I know I'm going to get in regardless." You kind of want each player to be fighting. I mean, we've got a healthy competition at centre-back. We've got healthy competition sort of in midfield and also up front as well, because Eddie's definitely going to want to try and get above Jesus in the starting order. He probably knows he's not going to start there, but the better that he plays in training and the better that he trains, surely he's going to be knocking on that door of Arteta thinking, "Oh, you know, I've got a real problem here because I've got so many players who are quite good. I don't know who to play."
It all depends on what sort of system he's going to go for. Remember back in the day, Arsenal had their way under Wenger of playing great football, and then Wenger went, "Oh, Barcelona, I quite like the way they play football." And as soon as we started getting in the Seven Dwarfs and playing that way, football changed. I just hope that Arteta isn't doing the same thing. Go and look at Man City for the last 2 seasons, playing without a main striker, and now going, "Oh, actually, I want to copy that." And now, as soon as Man City are moving to having a main striker, because as good as Haaland is, he's going to struggle at first in the Premier League, but he's still going to be fantastic. But they're changing the way they play football, and so I just hope that if he is going to go and do that kind of football, that it's going to work. It's not going to end up like Wenger in the Barcelona tiki-taka way. And so if it's going to go that way, then we'll be fine, because all of our players up front, we saw at the end of last season, Eddie, when he was first coming in, he was playing wide. Pepe's wide. Martinelli can play wide. Jesus can play wide. They can all play in, even Saka and all of that lot can all play anywhere across the front three. And I think that's the kind of, I think that's the kind of formation style that he is going to be going for. And I've been attacked by a fly. Damn them. So if that is the way that he's going to go, I think that will work, because you're going to have an understudy in Nketiah. You'll have an understudy in Balogun until I think maybe Balogun will go on loan for the second half of the season, because we could need him. Because like Femi was saying, we need someone tall who's going to be there, who's going to be good in the air, who can do all that kind of stuff. So I think great start. First part of the season, you've got some League Cup games, you've got the Europa League games, you've got the early part of the Premier League, and then the second part of the season, I think he'll reevaluate stuff in the January transfer window and see whether he does need someone big up front. But the one thing we needed last season, like Joshua was alluding to, we just needed a handful of goals. We've now got that. You've seen how accurate, how deadly he is. I mean, that first goal against Everton in America, the angle that he put that in at, and then he set up Saka for that goal. We could have literally, and I do mean literally, had someone do that for 2 games last season, we'd have got Champions League football. That's all we needed, and we've got it already. And I'm actually excited.
And if you look at what you're saying about Man City, if you look at Man City and Liverpool, they don't have 2 players for every position. They kind of have 3 players for every position. So when you look at the amount of centre-backs, I mean, our fan base, I don't know why they're crying about this Saliba, Ben White thing. I just ignore it when I see it online now, because I'm like, we're just not we've been used to poverty for so long as football as fans that we can't get used to the idea that you have multiple players. Look at Liverpool. Gomez just signed a new deal. He literally does not. He hardly played last season. They got Gomez, they got Matip, and they got is it Kanate and Van Dijk as centre backs. That's those four would probably start in most other clubs. They're rotating them. Man City, look at the amount of midfielders they got: Silva, Bernardo. They've got Rodri. Just all of them. Name them. Just reel them off. And that's the kind of rotational type of system and play that we have to have, because what you don't want to be is in a season you've done your transfers and then you're stuck basically where nothing's working, but where you have loads of options you can try loads of different things. I think that's the room that they're kind of giving themselves.
And I also think that with the Europa League games, and then correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, aren't we playing the Europa League group games every week until the World Cup? I'm sure that you play 6 games all in a row, don't you? I'm sure it's every 6 weeks. There's no gap. Usually there's about 2 games in a gap. There is no gap this year. So I guess depending on the kind of group that we get in the Europa League, a little experimentation can kind of happen in there, bringing other people in and playing people in different positions, or bringing them in to play like little link-ups to see who goes well with each other. I mean, I'm not saying any game is a given that we're going to just clean the floor with players, with other teams. But surely that is kind of a little bit experimentation for Arteta to do.
Yeah, I think so. And it's also, I think it's going to be the one big thing that one of my major criticisms of Arteta was the lack of rotation we've seen and keeping the whole squad fresh. Now, he's going to have to do that this season. And I think with the Europa League there, it gives an opportunity to rest players that may not have necessarily seen a rest last season. We saw the worries we had about Saka. Well, we've got some people in now who can take that position, and I'm less worried about saying, if he's still at the club, Nicolas Pepe, he has to go and play the Europa League, so we give Saka that rest he needs. Far more comfortable doing that. Whether or not Arteta has evolved to that point, I think that's going to be the real test for how he keeps the whole squad fresh and doesn't I suppose every manager will have it this season, but especially with Arteta, that how he keeps the entire squad fresh, but also maintaining the high standard that we need to get into the Champions League.
Yeah, just speaking about keeping players fresh, I just want to touch on the Everton game really, really quickly. For some unknown reason, Everton thought that this was a league game, because I don't know if anyone watched it. I stayed up on Sunday, Saturday night, Sunday morning to watch the game. And I'm not joking. You could tell what Frank Lampard's team talk was. It was, let's not treat this like a friendly, guys. Let's really go out there and let's try and win this and leave our footing, because some of the fouls
get stuck into them.
Yeah, you could just tell, because some of the fouls were absolutely atrocious. Like some of the challenges that I saw, like that shouldn't be in a friendly game. Like, I'm not saying you don't go in and tackle, because of course you do. Of course you go into a friendly game thinking you want to get your fitness up and you want to try and win. But some of those challenges were absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I know you still stayed up to watch it, Femi. What did you think, first of all, just of Everton's approach to the game?
I heard it was their first pre-season game, so whatever that means. But I just didn't understand. I mean, it's a friendly, for God's sake. Is the plan for their season to defend deep and clobber people? Is that what they're practicing for? Because pre-season should be, as much as it's about fitness, it's about tactical whatever. So is Lampard's tactic next season to literally have everyone defend and hope and pray that something breaks for them up front while being really, really aggressive at the back? It works for some teams, but I just don't see how it's going to work for his team. And one thing I was like, Yerry Mina was really wound up for some reason. I don't understand that. He was picking fights with a lot of our players, and it's like it's where now, I don't even know what they're doing, to be honest. I don't know what the Everton style of play is. I don't know what Lampard was thinking. We played really well in that first half, especially, and we literally just suffocated them to the point where, like you said, they were so frustrated. All they could do was just kick lumps out of our players. Jesus went down at one point, didn't he? And I thought he was injured because he limped off at half time and he didn't come back on. But I've seen him in training. But we'll see. Someone says, it's Rich says Mina and Jesus have had previous. Well, that's probably true.
But irrespective of, I think that's just ridiculous. But Josh, I'm not sure if you watched the game, but I've probably seen highlights. What did you think of our overall play within that game?
I did not watch the game. I haven't seen any football for it's been bliss. Let's put it that way. That I have not watched any football since the final whistle at probably at Brighton.
Oh.
That was it. Final whistle at Brighton. I have not watched football since. It's been great. Sorry. But I can talk about how I hate Frank Lampard. Well, that helped.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Danny, did you watch any of the game? Or have you seen any?
Yeah, I watched the first 60 minutes, and like most preseason films are rubbish. They're boring. It's just a chance to get to see your new players. But that's fizzy. I was disappointed to see how many fouls were going on. I mean, you don't do that in pre-season friendly. And I watched up to about the 60th minute, and Ben Godfrey got an early booking. And then, like one of you was saying about Jesus got a kick.
That was a nasty tackle.
And then,
Ben Godfrey one.
What was their problem? Maybe it's because their last competitive game, if that was their first pre-season, was we smashed them at the Emirates. And maybe that's what... I mean, if that's the route that... we've waited so long to get Stoke and Burnley out of the Premier League, and those teams that play rubbish football, and it seems we've got another one because God knows Frank Lampard can't do anything as an actual quality manager. Even when he was at Chelsea, he struggled to do much when he's got some of the best players in the Premier League playing for him. But then if that's going to be the way he's going to go next season, we'll just kick everybody to make sure that we get the points or get a draw or whatever. That isn't going to work in the Premier League. You're going to end up going down. He's going to get sacked by Christmas. But it'd be hilarious to watch them. But it's nice to see the fans. The fans were so into it. And there was a Spurs fan tweeted, was it a Spurs fan? Why was there an American Arsenal fan chanting about Spurs? I thought the answer's simple, because he gets it. He obviously didn't get into games in his country or watched it on the TV, because our fans all around the world all love it and they're up for it. And all the stuff with like Mike from the Gooners pod has met all those other Gooners over there and been doing videos and all over Twitter. It's fantastic to see, which is why we went back to America so soon after only being there a few years ago. Well, last year we were meant to go there, weren't we?
Yeah.
And then we were there a few years before that as well. And it's one of the most lively fan bases we have. I know you could go anywhere in the world and let Arsenal play and we'll have thousands of fans turning up, but there's something a little bit special for me about seeing all these American fans loving it and really getting into it and doing it as if it's a home game for Arsenal. And I think that might have been part of the reason why Everton were struggling at times, and because they couldn't cope with it. But I'll be watching tonight's game. A little bit boring. All pre-season games are boring though, but yeah, it's looking like it's coming together. It's like George Peppard in the A-team. I can see a plan coming together.
It's a lot more settled than last summer, to be fair, because last summer I knew that we were going to have a bad start, because when you watched us in pre-season, we were absolutely terrible, weren't we? And it just carried on into the beginning of the season. We were so undercut. We weren't ready. You sometimes when you watch pre-season, you can kind of tell. It's not the ones where you lose 4 games and you think, oh, it's just warm-ups. But last season, we didn't have enough players. Players were just in and out. Their heads weren't right, and you could kind of tell. And one thing I do want to ask is, what do you guys think about this new thing of Premier League teams playing Premier League teams in pre-seasons? Because I've just got a thought that I don't... Is it just for the money that we're doing this? Because when I was growing up, I never saw Arsenal play a Premier League team. The most they'll do is they'll play Boreham Wood or Barnet first game of pre-season. Then they'll play European giants, European teams. But I'm seeing more and more of this. And I saw I don't know if you guys saw the Leeds versus who who was it? Aston Villa game, and John McKean. Have you seen it? Is it John McGinn?
Oh, he
John
nearly
McGinn
killed a guy,
absolutely leveled a 16-year-old, and he had to be stretchered off with ligament damage in pre-season. And I'm like, what is this? Like, why are we doing this? Yeah, he literally.
That's the whole. Let's not treat this like a pre-season, guys. Let's really go in there and do stuff. You just tell that again. Gerrard is exactly the same English manager mentality. Like it's just, do you know what I mean? Like you said, pre-season for me, as growing up, as we used to go to Austria, didn't we? Arsene Wenger to go to Austria to do a little training camp there, and it was just about getting your fitness back. I mean, again, these players now are highly tuned athletes, he says, so they shouldn't really lose a lot of fitness, but it's all about playing patterns, all the stuff that you do in training, bringing it to an actual football pitch. And I don't know, like for me, again, that's ridiculous what John McGinn did. Like in the pre-season, I'm not saying you can't go in and tackle, because of course you do. You want to, prove yourself, but at the same time, doing that in a game is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, so that guy now is probably out for the best. I mean, I'm not saying
years old.
16 years old. I'm not saying he's ever going to get a chance in the Premier League. He may just been flown out there for the first team, but he now is going to miss the under 18s game, and he's going to be out probably for about what ligament damage is 4 months.
It could probably end his career without going too over the top, because he's still growing.
Yeah.
That's ligament damage on top of probably a growth spurt that's going to happen in a few months' time. If anybody remembers when they were between 16 and 18 as a guy, and you get that, you get that growth spurt of about 3 or 4 inches, maybe even more at that point. God, Karl, keep it in your, keep it all PG. We're not going about that. Danny has put the picture.
Danny's put the wrong image.
Yeah.
He's made the kid look bad.
Yeah. I wondered how he got injured from that. That's. Oh, I got it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's the wrong one. But I think if what you were saying though, in terms of Premier League teams playing each other, it's clearly that's where the money is. We've got the highest overseas rights in terms of broadcasting. It's clearly this is the games that sell well, and they just want to reproduce them in those countries, because it is, and I think it's really frustrating as well.
That's the aftermath of it, yeah, probably.
Yeah, to not see, you'd want to see like when we played the Emirates Cup, that you get those kind of teams coming in. It's like, we play Red Bull, we play Sevilla, and another team from France. You want that kind of mix of teams, someone we don't always see us play against.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see us play Real Madrid, AC Milan, Inter.
We're just having to qualify for the Champions League.
Exactly. Aren't Barcelona playing Real Madrid in their friendly as well? Like, I'm sure they are. And I get it that it gets revenue.
Yeah, I guess it is money.
I hear that, but surely you'd much want to see like you said, like Barcelona versus Arsenal. They were all in every team, or a lot of teams do go to America. So
I would say on the other side, Brighton haven't gone on pre-season. They haven't done a tour. There's only 2 games that are not behind closed doors. And would you prefer that as the option? So they're playing Tony Bloom's other Belgian team that came second in the league this year. Espanyol is the only game at home that's free for people to attend. Every other game has been at the training ground, and they're playing away to Reading. That's it. That's their pre-season.
See, I don't like that either, because I think that leaves you. To be fair, I do like the tours because, like Danny was saying, the fans in other countries do deserve. I mean, I've watched Arsenal games in Dallas and in Orlando, and those fans, I watched them in bars. Actually, I watched the North London derby in Dallas, and it was like 7 a.m. in the morning, and I drove to the bar. The fans are there, thick and thin. Not even in their houses, in the bars. And I was just like, it was a lot of fans there, and they watched 2 games back to back. And then I watched in Orlando, same thing. They've got a dedicated, bar that they go to all the time. So, they kind of deserve to see. I do think they deserve to see it as well.
What worries me is.
Sorry, Danny, go on.
I'll say just what it worries me a little bit that this may be them building up to having a Premier League game in outside of the Premier League. But I can see the Charity Shield being done abroad. I mean, like the European Super Club used to always be held in Monaco, and now that's been held all over the place. Nothing wrong with that. Charity Shield, no problem with that being held abroad. But having Premier League games being held outside of England, I mean, do you think that's something that could this could be leading to? Karl?
Abroad is one thing. Having the Community Shield abroad is one thing. Having it in Dubai or UAE is a different thing. As far as I'm not being patronizing to those countries, but where you've got, China, Japan, Korea, USA that are, they've been supporting the Premier League for years and years, rabid fan base. I bet you any money the first place that the game goes to is to the Middle East.
It's like with the WWE when that's gone to wherever that went to. The fact that people even wrestlers are refusing to go.
Yeah.
Money though, isn't it?
It's bound to happen. Yeah.
Money talks. If they're going to pay, like, imagine they said to the FA, okay, FA, we're going to give you 10 million to host this game. They're going to take that. They're going to take that 10 million. FA will say, oh, yeah, no problems. And then they'll put it onto the clubs to say, oh, yeah, you've got to fly your team out. You've got to go and get a hotel and blah, blah, blah. But you think to yourself, in the UAE or Dubai or wherever it is, and the Charity Shield gets paid in August, you're talking about 45-degree heat.
Well, they won't play it in August, Karl. They'll move it like they did with the Spanish one. They moved the Spanish one to December, didn't they? And they made it a 4-team tournament.
What Spanish one was that?
That's the Copa del Rey, didn't it? It went to
the
Spanish Super Cup.
And it used to be just a Spanish Super Cup. We all used to watch it on Sky over here in August, and it always used to be Real Madrid and Barcelona kicking lumps out of each other. But yeah, they've moved it till December or January, and it's now a 4-team tournament, and it's in Qatar.
Riyadh.
Yeah.
And last season is in Riyadh. Season before that, Sevilla. Season before that is in Jeddah.
There you go.
That's crazy.
And I mean, I bet Sevilla was the hottest of all of them.
They had just looking at it here. They had the semi-finals: Barcelona 2, Real Madrid 3, Atletico Madrid 1, Atletico Bilbao 2. And the final: Athletic Bilbao 0, Real Madrid 2. 9:30 at night. Wow, didn't know that.
No. Oh, Danny, if you're looking to find love, there's someone in the chat for you. Come back a couple of times. We're clearly popular now. We're getting porn bots.
ABW's back, baby.
I've returned and the porn back to here. What can we say?
Oh, I've missed them.
I want to talk about some of the outgoings or outgoings that might happen, because at the moment it's really slow with us sort of getting rid of players. And I know that I think Josh, you and I were speaking about this in the in our group, and you're saying there's no money in Europe at the moment, but I'm seeing people go for money. Like, we could do a whole podcast on the finances of Barcelona, how they managed to get money when they're in something like £2 billion debt, but that's by the by. And I've seen Juventus buy players, Bayern Munich buy players. I think the only team that's not really, or the only league that's not really spending any money, quote unquote, is the French league. But there's only one team in that, isn't there? Being honest. So at the moment on tour, we've got 30 players, I believe, of which just like 5 goalkeepers and how many flipping midfielders and strikers. So of the goalkeepers, like, we know that Alex Runnison is definitely going to go, or he won't be involved in the first team whatsoever. I can't see it. And there's talk of Bernd Leno going to Fulham, but I believe the rumours say that we're holding out for something like 11 to 12 million, and Fulham don't want to pay that. So for me, if Fulham don't start with the money, do you then? I mean, you've got no choice but to keep him, or do you think as long as the window goes on, like when it gets to like biting point, do you think we'll lower our valuation and let him go?
No, I think we'll stand firm on that, and it will be up to Fulham to see who blinks first. And to be honest, with them shipping 5 goals every pre-season game at the moment, they're going to start really getting a lot of criticism and stop, the extra 2 million, bring their goalkeeper in a bit earlier so you can learn how to get used to picking the ball out the back of the net, because I think they're going straight back down. But yeah, I think there's definitely Leno will leave. I think that's all clear to see. I think especially Matt Turner came in and we signed him in January as well. This wasn't like a deal that we sorted out over the summer. We've clearly known for 7 months at least that Leno was going to leave this summer. And I think it's just a case of maybe it's just the agents. The agents just got to sort it out, because that is kind of what he's got to do, isn't it? That's his client. He's got to try and move his client on to keep him happy. So it's up to them to negotiate with Fulham as well as us. So yeah, I think I'm not too concerned about how late we're going. There's some other players that perhaps I'd be a little bit more worried about, but we've seen how quiet we've gone around the transfer market at the moment. How silently we've gone about deals. So because I'm not hearing rumblings of maybe Pepe going somewhere, doesn't necessarily make me feel like I'm not really fearing that right now, especially with a little bit more time in the window to go. If it's deadline day and we're still not hearing anything, I'll start to get scared.
I mean, there's a lot of players like that. I mean, you could run through a whole list of them. Hector Bellerin, Pablo Marie, Lucas Torreira, Maitland-Niles. I mean, there are so many.
Reece Nelson
as well. So yeah, there's so many that we thought that we would get rid of. I mean, of those players, I mean, I definitely can't see Lucas Torreira staying in the squad. I can't.
See, I can see him staying. I think he would stay. And I think there's not enough said about the fact that he was unsettled because he didn't necessarily feel at home, as well as problems in the dressing room. He's come back to a dressing room that isn't poisonous at all now. And one of his best friends from the national team has moved to North London since he's been away. Bentancur now plays for Spurs. So Uruguayan international, his midfield partner, came from Juve. There's a bit more of a settled atmosphere for him. So I think there is potential, if we can't find something for him, that he sticks around a little bit longer.
I just don't see that. I'm sorry. Every time he opens his mouth, all he ever talks about is leaving.
And I think that's because we still had Mesut Ozil at the club. That's the main reason.
I mean, even this summer, all he ever talks about is leaving. He's just like, I want to leave, or I'm leaving, or I found a club, or I've agreed. His agent's always like, he's agreed with this club, he's agreed with that club. I just don't. I mean, I'd love for it to work out with him. I just don't. And plus, I just don't see where he's going to get the game time for him to even be satisfied to stay, even as a backup. I just don't see it, especially if we're going to sign another midfielder, as we all kind of expect. I just don't see where he's going to, with Sambi still there, and Elneny clearly is more favoured by Arteta. So it would be very difficult for him to stay. And a lot of these guys that I don't know if he's got 1 year left on his contracts, but players like Leno, who've got 1 year left on their contract, I mean, Fulham know that we're going to give in at some point, to be honest, don't they? They kind of, I know what you're saying, but I think Fulham are playing a smart game, just like we're playing with Yuri Tillemans. They're playing quite a smart game, which is they know that if it gets to the last day of the window, close to the last day, we'd rather get 5 million for him than 0 in the summer. So that's what they're banking on. So let's see who blinks first with some of these stuff.
I mean, but the same could be said for a lot of players. I mean, Hector Bellerin as well. He's got 1 year left on his contract. And I think, he came back to Arsenal, and I think one of the conversations he had with Arteta, or that's reported, he wanted for him to go on a free. And then, but obviously we probably said, we're not doing that anymore. We've got rid of so many players for free, cancelling the contracts. We're not doing that no more. And I think that was kind of a shake-up, especially for Betis as well. So I think Betis thought that they could just easily get him. I think once we said no, that's it. But for me, I wouldn't be annoyed if Bellerin stayed. Tomiyasu, his injury worries are definitely here again. And he's taking his time out from pre-season again, along with Kieran Tierney. So if Bellerin stayed, I wouldn't be that angry because that's cover at right back. I know you could say we've got 3 right backs because of Cedric Suarez, but I think with Kieran Tierney, obviously is going to have injury problems throughout the whole season. And as Josh sort of exclusive from Josh, there's talk of Nuno Tavares maybe going to Brighton, and if that comes to fruition, then we're a left back down. So you've then got, with the addition of maybe the new player coming in, Suarez can play left and right back as well. Bellerin playing right back. So I don't know, Danny, if Bellerin was to actually stay, would you see that as a kind of a good thing?
Yeah, also, he's the longest serving player at the club along with Elneny, and we don't have a kind of father figure at the club. I mean, maybe you could consider Partey that father figure because he's an international, he's been around the world, he's a big old lump of a human being. But there's no old stalwarts at the club, is there? They've all gone. And having Bellerin there like that could do the job. But from seeing what Bellerin last season, what he was saying, I think he'd take a massive pay cut to go to Betis, the kid he supported as a kid, apparently. So I don't think there is much chance of him staying. But like you were saying, Karl, we need cover at right back. And although Tierney can play right back, he can play anywhere across the back 3. He's going to be out injured as well, and occasionally. And I don't like Suarez. I think he's a bit better going forward. He's more of a wing back than an actual defender. And I think this season, with the attacking players that we've got, we're going to need defenders that can actually defend. But Karl, there's been those rumours or people on Twitter who know nothing are saying that we could be playing 3 at the back this season: Saliba, Gabriel, and Benny Blanco. What do you think to that? For me, that excites me because that's my Championship manager formation. Benny Blanco in the middle, going forward a little bit because he stays at Brighton. Josh is shaking his head; he doesn't agree with it. How dare you?
No,
we started the second half. We started the second half of both of our games with 3 at the back. So
that's because we've got the centre backs we need to get rid of. That's why. That's all we've called up.
Do you know? Funny enough, Josh, I think it's because we don't have enough fullbacks that are fit as well.
Yeah,
so
it's probably that as well. So it's Saliba.
Yeah,
Saliba is who I thought would fill in at right back.
Yeah, I don't see it with Bellerin, to be honest with you.
No.
He hasn't played well for us anyway for a good couple of years. And you're saying an older statesman. Bellerin's 26 years old or something, isn't
I know. You think, hold on, he's more like feel like he's 36. He's been there before Wenger signed.
The old statesman is Granit Xhaka, mate. He's the one that's gonna look after the dressing room now.
It's him and it's Rob Holding. Rob Holding, it seems to be the talk from him from pre-season, or at least Matt Turner was saying nice things about Rob Holding. He drives the bus, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I think he said Rob drives the bus.
He drives the Fiesta.
He drives the bus to training. Yeah, so I think he's the lift buddy at the moment.
I bet he's got a hat as well.
Definitely.
His hair's looking good. Does that give you hope, Josh?
No, because I've seen Gabriel's, put it that way.
No.
Yeah.
that guy needs to go for a refund.
He needs a refund. Yeah,
Where did he go to? Where did he go in Turkey? Because I need that place on the blacklist. I'm not going there.
Well, it's like when you've decided to revamp your back garden, have it landscaped, and you have all new grass put down, and they say, "Don't let the kids play on the grass for the first 6 weeks." People have been rubbing his head from day one. He's probably got hair growing out of all parts of his body where it's fallen down and taken root.
Well, he probably got his for free, didn't he? Because he did an advertisement where Rob Holding did a download one and paid loads of money and told no one about it. Gabriel was advertising it everywhere.
There's a thing.
He did the old Bobby Perez.
I saw this thing called turkey teeth, where they do caps for your teeth, and then all the caps fall out, and then you got teeth like an old witch. You look like someone out of Jaws, the fish from Jaws.
I don't know what people.
He won't listen.
I don't know. One person who hasn't gone yet, and it just doesn't seem to be no talk at all, is Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I mean, there was talk
Conservative.
Pardon?
That's an insult now. You can't say that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's Liberal Democrat. Sorry, Karl.
Josh, I mean, there was talk of him going to maybe Nottingham Forest, and then that kind of died down. But with Jed Spence going to that lot, do you think there's an opportunity that Nottingham Forest rumour might come back?
Potentially, because he wasn't a Forest player, Jed Spence, was he? He was at Middlesbrough. He was just on loan there.
Yeah.
So there was an option, definitely. They had that space, and they obviously need a right wing back. It's whether or not Maitland-Niles, he seems to not necessarily want to play for a team that's down the bottom and doesn't necessarily see himself as a championship player yet. Because I think that's what we're going to inevitably see. Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if he tries another international or European adventure like he did in Rome and sit on the bench there.
They soon got fed up with him.
Oh, yeah. He came in, he played against Juventus, did all right on his debut, and then
that was it.
Jose didn't really have much of it. So I wonder if he tries that again, but it does seem to be, and I was thinking about this recently, you don't see many players now coming out of Premier League sides and dropping down the level, especially English players. They're not really dropping to the Championship anymore. They're more looking to go, say, to Portugal or to Spain, or they're looking further afield now rather than just dropping down to Championship because they know there's still a chance that they could get European football somewhere. And I wonder if that's what Maitland-Niles is waiting for, is further opportunities. And I think we can see what will happen there, but I think we've missed the boat of getting a big figure for him, certainly.
I mean, I tend to agree. I think the fact that we never took the 20 million from Wolves, is it last season or the season before?
The season before. It was the season where it was during our FA Cup run where we won the FA Cup. It was that summer afterwards that we were offered 20 million.
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
And everyone was like, don't get rid of him. He's our best player. And I'm like, he doesn't know how to pass. And he's not Arsenal quality. And we should have taken that.
You have been moaning for a few years about him, haven't you?
I think he since he came into the side, poor fella.
According to this, his contract is up this summer as well. So we've got.
I wonder how many of those have got options though for an extra year.
True. But then when he signed his contract before Arteta, so those options they started putting them in when Edu and Arteta came in, whereas before they just whatever. Even Reece Nelson, his contract is up. Torreira, so I think they'll all go. I think they'll just ship them all out. To be honest with you, they'll find a way to get them out. Hopefully, not players that are on their not loans, but they'll someone like Reece Nelson. They'll probably just take whatever fee they're 3 million, 5 million.
Unless they do something incredible during the pre-season that convinces otherwise. I think there's obviously opportunity out there. I think Reece Nelson's probably an opportunity back at Feyenoord because his partner on the other wing went to Leeds, didn't he, for 25 million. So they obviously need a winger. So there's potential that maybe he goes back there.
Should we have a moment of appreciation for the... First of all, I like your T-shirt, Josh. You can't see what it is because you're sat down, but do you want to show the boys and girls? You might have to stood up a little bit. It's a very nice T-shirt. the one that we say, but that a moment of appreciation, Karl, for that Elneny goal against
Nuremberg, wasn't it?
That's it. Wow,
it was. But he always does that, don't you find? In pre-season, he always scores like a worldie all the time, and you think, wow. And he's got that in his locker. He has got a long shot on him, and I mean, Elneny is one of those players where, he's always going to give you a 6 to 7 out of 10 performance. You're not going to get like a 10 out of 10, 9, or even an 8 out of 10 performance, but he just does his job well. So I was quite happy when he signed these 1-year deal, or to 2 years, I can't remember, at the end of the season. Now, I don't mind, someone like Elneny, I don't mind keeping around because he will play all the Europa League games, give Thomas Partey a rest, and he'll come in and just do his job. And I appreciate that. He doesn't, there's no fuss with Elneny. He's just absolutely brilliant in what he does. But yeah, Elneny, he's got it in his locker. He's got that long shot. Quite a few, I say quite a few. Xhaka's got it on him.
Anyone that isn't Partey, basically.
Yeah. I think he's got to get that out of his game this season because some of those shots were wild, like really, really wild. So
unless you've been generous.
so hopefully he kind of gets
Some are dangerous.
Hopefully. I guess we're going to talk about incomings, aren't we? And today, I think it's been confirmed that Zinchenko has signed a contract with Arsenal, and I think it's just a matter of time.
Didn't Pep announce it as well?
Yeah, he kind of said
most of Man City players, all of the Man City players that have been interviewed in pre-season have said about Zinchenko leaving to Arsenal.
Femi, what do you think of the Zinchenko signing? I mean, I guess not watching a load of Man City, but I know enough that he's versatile. He can play left back, which I know Josh is very happy about that because it's covered for Kieran Tierney, who is going to miss a minimum of 15 to 20 games this season. I think we could, sorry.
So did you say 50? Did you say 50 games?
50 to
10 to 15 games. He's going to miss 10 to 15 games this season with no doubt about that. He's an injury-prone player. It's just, it is what it is. So, you know, it's that playing the left-back sort of cover, and also he can play in midfield as well. What do you think about that Zinchenko signing?
To be fair, when we were linked with him earlier in the summer, I thought I just don't see it happening. It was around the time that Ukraine played Scotland, and he had an absolute blinder in central midfield, and I was like, I've never seen him play central midfield, and he just looked so good in that game. I was like, wow, this is an amazing performance, but I didn't think it was possible, honestly, that we would get both players from Man City. It just was like a one of those ones you hear, you think, yeah, it's just another rumor, and
at decent prices too.
Yeah, very decent prices. And I think what I like about what we've done here is we had a target that we clearly wanted, Martinez. You didn't even hear about Arsenal pulled out of the deal. You just heard, Arsenal going for Zinchenko. It's almost wrapped up. Within a week, it's wrapped up. That's the way to do business, you know. Let's just move on to the next target. There's always, you know, have your list of targets. That's what I like now that we're doing. Arteta says we have a plan. This is the plan, and they go with it. And to be fair, I don't want to say he's someone that I know loads and loads about. I've not been overly impressed with his one-on-one defending, but I guess that's just the way Man City play. We don't really leave the kind of spaces that they leave in behind, you know. So hopefully he can, and I think he'll do it. He'll do a decent job, not just covering Tierney, but playing instead of Tierney. To be fair, because I'm sure he'll play a lot of games. That's probably what he's. A lot of these players, they've been promised something. They've not been promised to come in and just do. If you wanted to sit on the bench, you might as well just have stayed at Man City and sat on the bench and won a title or a league medal. So I'm sure he'll be getting a lot of minutes for this team, and hopefully, you know, he stays fit and he can show. But on the ball, technically, quality wise, wow, he's technique, he's moving the ball, short passes, long passes, is absolutely. It's just brilliant. But it's just defensively that I always have to be cautious with him, because I have seen him get torn apart a couple of times.
But that's where I'd have him play. I'd have him playing in central midfield. See you later, Granit Xhaka. We've got a player that turns quickly. That is
ruthless.
Yeah, I mean,
fuck you, Saka.
Zinchenko, Odegaard, and Thomas Partey as midfield. That's what I'm looking forward to this season, because as great as Xhaka's been, he's no longer playing that position where it's so hard to replace him. Why don't we put
Xhaka at left back then, and then put Zinchenko?
Yeah, we could put him there. I'm happy to do that. I was happy to drive. I was happy to drive Kieran Tierney to Newcastle if they were paying £50 million for a guy that will play 20 games in a season, and we can go out and get a reliable left back. But yeah, I've realised it's going to be a tall order, convincing people that Granit Xhaka won't start. But even probably Arteta as well. But you've got a player that the one weakness in Xhaka's game is how quickly he moves with the ball. You know, that initial turn. He's not necessarily agile or getting the ball out of his feet. And in the centre of midfield, you just get Zinchenko in there, and that's going to make his transition so much quicker. And that's what I would be looking forward to be honest.
Zinchenko for Ukraine, Karl, 42 out of the last 45 international games he's played at central midfield. He's played 2 at left back, 1 at left midfield. And in his early days for the Ukraine, in his first 5 or 6 caps, he played 1 as a striker or centre forward and 3 as a attacking midfielder. But
He's
Josh,
incredible.
you're going to be sad.
For the Ukraine.
You're going to be sad with Man City's replacement for him because we all know that's going to be old Kookaburra or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Cucurella. I mean, when he turned up, he was too good for Brighton. He's probably too good for City. He is that level of a left back.
What's better than City?
Oh, I don't know. Just the Harlem Globetrotters. He'd be in.
I didn't know he came from Barcelona's academy.
Yeah, Barcelona academy. They just like, nah, we've got Alba, and Alba will be here forever. And they had somebody else coming through, and he was like, I just want game time. Left, went to Getafe.
They'll sign him for 100 million next summer.
Yeah, where they find that down there. Sell their TV
Karl, you're
rights
on
for the next 25 years. But yeah, it's going to be a shame seeing him leave because he was a fabulous player. But I'd equally be intrigued to see Nuno Tavares more often, should we see, because he is a player that I think there's a real raw talent in there. For a left back, but especially probably a left wing back as well, where there's a bit more opportunity to not be as defensive. But yeah, I think it's coming on to answering Avon's question. I think a lot of people have asked what I think of Tavares to Brighton on loan. I'll wait for the Brighton Ornstein to tweet about it. Sai, no, not even close. They got 50 points last season and 3 shit teams came up. No problem. And Everton are still in the league. So I don't see Brighton being in a relegation battle at all.
And Leeds will play with 10 men every other game as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's at least 5, 6, probably 7 poorer teams.
Well, Fulham are a given.
Season.
They're down.
Yep.
There's only 2 others that are going with them.
Yeah. Brighton have also got a striker this season. So watch out.
Who's that?
They've signed Dennis Undav from their sister team in Belgium.
Oh, yes. St. Golis or something. He banged in loads of goals in the first half of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good.
He'll be the one.
I didn't know he'd gone to Brighton. That's a decent
They
move.
signed him in January and then loaned him back so he could try and win the league.
I think that team had come up from the 3rd tier of Belgian football in the space of 3 or 4 years.
They were bought by Tony Bloom, who also owns Brighton, and he
sent them a
load. Sent them a load of Brighton players on loan.
When you said Tony Bloom's B-side, I was thinking of Tony Pulis, and I didn't know he had another title, let alone one. Tony Bloom, must be the owner of Brighton.
He's the owner of Brighton, the owner of he's got a team there. He's got another team. He's got about 3 or 4 teams, all like tiny little ones.
You should start what would it be called? A famous Brighton
Adam Lallana Wonderland.
That's it.
Oh my god. Oh, maybe Zamora. A Zamora Wonderland. That would be it.
Well, you never know; these things might happen.
Oh, not Adam Lallana. Oh, what a nightmare! Great player, but my God, he's on 3 times as much wages than the nearest other player at Brighton. Bit of a mistake. Anyway, where were we?
Zinchenko. So you're saying you're saying that he should play in midfield, but more than likely he's going to be replacing Kieran Tierney at left back if Tavares goes to Brighton, if that's the rumour.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to not see Zinchenko at left back, and there's plenty of left backs out there. I'd like to see him in midfield because I think he's just kind of sitting dormant at there. The reason why he doesn't get into the midfield is potentially because he's not as good as Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne. But he's getting into our midfield any day of the week. And I think there's a real opportunity for him there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a player that is going to improve us, I think there's no doubt that that's going to happen. It's just depending on who. I think we need to, like Josh said, I think we need to be brave and not and maybe drop Xhaka. Like you said, I think the problem is like people think like Granit Xhaka should be the first name on the team sheet because he's been there for so long and he has been that that person who is the ever present in the team. But I think we shouldn't be scared to drop certain players like Granit Xhaka. I think as a leader, I think he's brilliant. I can't lie. I think he's always fronted up in the interviews. I think he's always, when he's made a mistake. I don't know if you've seen the latest interview he done on Arsenal.com where he was saying, he had to make it up with the fans. He made a mistake, and what he did to the fans was atrocious. And that just shows the kind of resilience of the player that he's still at the club for sticking two fingers up at the supporters. Could you imagine if All or Nothing was at Arsenal when he done that? That would have been absolutely bad. I mean, what Aubameyang done, and I'm sure everyone wants to talk about All or Nothing, and we'll do that in a second. But he's come back and he's fronted up, and that's what I like about Granit Xhaka. Whether his playing style is something that I like is probably no. Could we improve on Granit Xhaka? 100%. We could 100% improve on Granit Xhaka, but I think, what he brings to the team, his man management of certain players, and I think he's one of the only people who would actually be very honest in an interview and front up and be. I remember when we lost to Newcastle, and he came out and he kind of just basically said how it was. Like, we played shit, and there's certain people in this squad who think they're better than they actually are, and it needs to fix up. I don't think any other player would do that. Do you remember when we used to lose a game and Theo Walcott would come out and do an interview, and all Theo Walcott would say is something like, "Yeah, we need to play better. We need to work harder in training." Just the basic, someone who's been media trained to within an inch of their life, and they wouldn't give any other lines apart from what they've said in the media training. Granit Xhaka's not like that. He'll come out and he'll say it how it is. However, does that make you a better footballer? No. So I definitely agree with Josh where I'd love to see an improvement on Granit Xhaka, and whether Zinchenko is that person, I mean, only time will tell. I think when you look at the midfield, it's going to be Thomas Partey and another, whoever that is, whether it be Granit Xhaka, whether it be Zinchenko, whether it be Lokonga, whoever is going to be in the squad. There's still talk of Yuri Tillemans, and that rumour is just not going away whatsoever. So I think, there's something there as well. But I just think that we need to get rid of players before we start bringing anyone in. And I think that's the hindrance. Don't you think, Danny? Do you think us not getting rid of players is kind of a hindrance of us bringing anyone else in? Because we still need a winger. I mean, me personally, I would love to bring in a winger who can also play up front as well.
I think there may be a reason why some of these players aren't leaving. Maybe because the new Arsenal, we are a different Arsenal now than we were 12 months ago. And maybe Arteta is keeping some of those players, Maitland-Niles, Pepe, Nelson, and all that lot, because we're going to have a hell of a lot of games coming up before the World Cup starts. And we're going to need maybe extra bodies. Maybe you want some of these players to go like, this is the new way we're playing. I want to see how you fit in, because Maitland-Niles and Nelson both had I keep saying Neeson. I don't know, it's not Liam Neeson, is it? And he does have a certain set of skills, as Feyenoord saw. But maybe he wants to give some of these players a chance. But I think it's more like they just can't get rid of them. Most of these players want 40, 50, 60 grand a week, and they're squad players. And no one wants to take these players in. And Arsenal, historically, they know that Arsenal tend to loan players out or cancel their contracts. In recent years, we've had so few sales. I think I've actually got a thing here showing the sales that we've made this season. It's going to be this one or the other one. Oh, there we go. First time right, Karl. Needs to call you Clive then. There's no even Clives here. First, got the Nielsen's name wrong. But looking at that, we've got nothing for OC22. Daniel Ballard, got bugger all for that. I think that may have been $1 million. Lacazette, nothing. Mavropanos, I think that was about 3 million. Horrendous deal. Guendouzi, he's a £25 million player with the way he was playing for Marseille last season. Joel Lopez, God, we raved about him for ages. The other two are nothing. Gaspar's nothing. Remy Mitchell, not much. Zach Swanson, I'm surprised to see him go. And Amari Hutchinson, well, he was a Chelsea player before the club. He started his career at Chelsea, but we're not going to get much for any of those. And you think, what's that? 12 players gone, £9 million, give or take. It's not good.
No, but as we alluded to earlier, I think we're still early within the transfer window, and Josh said towards the end of the transfer window, I think there's going to be sort of a trolley dash for players, because I think we're going to play the first couple of games in the season, or other teams are, and they're going to think, shit, like Josh said, Fulham are shipping goals like nobody's business. So maybe they play the first Premier League game and then think, oh, fuck, you know what, we're just going to spring for this extra player because we extra million that Arsenal want, because we are going to go down if we don't do something about this. Kind of like when, do you remember when we played Man United and we lost 8-2? And then that's the season that we got, did we get Saka that season? Arteta, yeah, a load of players, a load of players came in.
Young. But we're not the only team that's got this problem as well. I mean, Spurs released not released. There's the rumor of their players that have been told to can leave Spurs. They got Harry Winks, Tanganga, Brian Gill. Didn't they pay 30 million for him? For that guy who's got a haircut from the 80s and looks about 7. And Ndombele was an 80 million pound player. The Celso, I think they paid 40 for him. Reguilon, I thought he was the next best left back since left backs were invented.
Who's the one they let go back to? Was it Bergwijn?
Bergwijn, yeah. They got 25
he had some
million
storming games for those, didn't
amazing
he?
For them. Well, you know, he was too young. That was the problem.
The hilarious thing is, though, Josh, that he's going to Conte's doing all this stuff. As soon as a big job comes, he's off, and he'll leave him in stuck.
Did you see what he said about DJ Spence?
Yeah, he's a club signing.
It's a club signing. He's like, yeah, I don't care if this player's good in 3 years' time. I won't fucking be here. That's basically what he said. That's why he signed Perisic. He doesn't care.
I think generally there's just a lack of money in Europe, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's literally killed transfers for Premier. That's why Man City are selling all their players to Chelsea. And I mean, when last did top 6 teams sell players to each other? All of a sudden, now it's going to become a regular thing because that's teams in Europe. Yeah, there's no money in Europe. I mean,
but you say that. So, Femi, you say that, and I kind of tend to agree. But Barcelona seem to be stumping up cash.
Yeah,
somewhere.
They've sold their soul.
Have you seen how they got their money?
Yeah, Real Madrid just bought a player from Monaco for
100 million.
100 mil. De Ligt's just gone to Bayern Munich from Juventus.
But that's the Lewandowski money.
Exactly. Bayern took the level. So teams are mixing the money. Real Madrid did a similar thing to Barcelona to raise funds this summer. They sold some rights to the Bernabeu Stadium that they're building.
Sold the training ground for the 4th time.
Yeah,
they sold
some
their
rights to
TV rights, didn't they, as well? Because that's what Barcelona have done.
These are the things that they're doing to get money. And what happens is they're not spreading the wealth in their own league as they used to. So they're not going to their
rights,
own.
Isn't it?
Exactly. They're not going to their bottom clubs and paying, 50 million for lower league Spanish or lower level Spanish players. They're going to different leagues and buying those players, or Germany to Italy. So now Juventus have got, Juventus just get free transfers from all over Europe. They don't spread the wealth. They just spread the wealth to the players. They don't spread the wealth around their league like they used to. So these are the things that are having a knock-on effects.
Didn't they just go and buy the player who won Defensive Player of the Year? There's kind of in Italy, so it's kind of.
Oh yeah, they got Bremer for 30 million.
Have they bought him?
Yeah, they've got him.
Yeah, so now teams are getting money now. They take the De Ligt money, and didn't they sell someone else? Juventus. They take that money.
Yeah, they've definitely sold some other players as well in there. Bernardeschi left on a free to Toronto.
Yeah, so the money will start spreading now as you get towards the end of the window. We'll start seeing the European teams start spreading, the money in their league, which then the lower teams, which are probably the ones that want the type of players we're trying to get rid of, might then have money towards the end of the window.
Yeah, it's Betis for getting money. That's what we need them to do, because then they'll have that 10 million to pay for Hector Bellerin. That's what we're kind of waiting for at the moment.
But as that club, you're going to know. Go on, Karl.
I was going to say, do you think we'll see more of a transfer window in January after the World Cup? Do you think that would be busier?
All our players will be knackered.
Like, just something I just thought, like, because of the way the World Cup is, do you think that teams are probably thinking, okay, I don't want to spend any money before the World Cup just to see? And as you know, someone has a good World Cup, some player from God knows what country has a good World Cup, and all of a sudden they're worth 25, 30 million. So do you think there'll be a bigger January transfer window than we've seen in the past few years?
I don't see a big name moving in that transfer window. I think they're already moving themselves around. Like, all the strikers are moving in this window. I don't see any big players moving out from elsewhere, unless teams are shifting them on. But because of how hectic I think the fixture list is, even after the World Cup, I can't see people moving on that quickly, because they'll have built the squad for the entire season. Oh, bye, Karl.
Oh, no, I'm here. I'm closing my blinds. I'm here.
It's like you got caught doing something.
No.
Is that what you're doing?
No, I was people looking in my house. I tend to agree.
Oh, they're not friendly in London, are they?
Someone's asked, Thunder asks, is that Jeff or Shredder? My name is Jeff. Jeff. That's our very own Canadian Jeff. Lovely, lovely man. He come halfway around the world to fucking see me. How far away are you from me, Karl, again? Is it?
Fucking still going on about that shit, Danny?
Half hour? Yes,
half an hour from me.
Shush. Definitely not on the train. I was just thinking about what Femi was saying about that. If you're a Barcelona fan and you think, hold on, my club has just sold its soul to get this money, and then you go and spend £45 million on a bloke who's 33 and a half years old, you're not getting value for money for that. And you've already got Aubameyang at the club. I mean, you could have who's that tall bloke who used to play up front for Brighton, Josh, the bald one.
Bobby Zamora?
No. Glenn Murray. You could have Glenn Murray now playing for Barcelona, and he still get 30 goals a season in that league. You don't need Lewandowski and Aubameyang together in that bloody league, for God's sake.
They still got that Braithwaite guy as well, don't they?
Yeah. Going, isn't there? I saw earlier, but I if there's ever a club I want to go out of business other than Spurs, it's Barcelona. I just want them to go under so badly.
I mean, I just laugh now about Wolves getting done, because that's what used to happen to us. With the Adama Traore deal, that they offered whatever for it to take him. Traore was paid 15 grand a week.
Yeah, like Aubameyang was,
but same as Aubameyang, and he thought he was then going to stay there, and they've gone, no, actually we're going to get Rafinha instead. And back to Wolves.
Later,
Wolves were like, oh yeah, we got 25 million coming in. They got 50 million, Rafinha. See you later.
I think that's mad. I think that's crazy.
No,
that's absolutely crazy.
But hey, it's at least they're not coming to steal our players anymore.
No, they've taken Aubameyang from us, and we're very happy about that.
Did you see what Bayern Munich tweeted about? I'm sure it might have been the Bayern Munich official.
It was Nagelsmann.
Ah, what did it say, Josh? Because I'll get it wrong. Nearly called you Jeff then.
No, Nagelsmann had basically said, I don't know where Barcelona have got their money from, but they've just taken Lewandowski.
And then someone else said that if you want him, it's £45 million up front, not £1 a week for the rest of your life. Or I'm not sure what account did that, but I did laugh. It's hilarious.
But if you're like De Jong, you're sitting there thinking, you owe me. I think they owe De Jong something like 11 million.
17. Avon's put in the
17.
Chat.
Yeah, they owe him so much money. So you're sitting there thinking, you owe me this much money. Like, Lewandowski has not gone there for a pay cut. I can assure you, he hasn't gone there for a pay cut from Bayern. Rafinha hasn't gone there with No, he hasn't gone anywhere with a pay cut. So you're thinking you owe me all this money, and you're bringing in all these players, and then there's talk of Koundé going there instead of going to Chelsea, because I think Koundé is holding out for Barcelona rather than going to Chelsea. So the rumours are on Twitter, I guess, at least. And even that, you're sitting there thinking, you owe me this much money, and you're still trying to bring in players. Put some respect on me, please, and run my money, like, please, because that is, again, it's just a wild thing to happen.
I hope he doesn't leave. I really hope he doesn't join Man United, because he's such a good player.
I mean, you say that, but he's still going to Man United, isn't he? So,
it's a place where careers go to die, and that's why Eriksen. So it is a no problem move for him. He's already died on the pitch once. He can die again.
Jesus, if I said that, you'd have me kicked out.
Oh, can I put Josh on a timeout? Like,
yes,
that's horrible. But for me, I want Ronaldo to stay, because that guy is just like the worst. He's like poison in the fucking dressing room, and that's why he thinks he's better than he is. He's literally gone to his agent and said, "Get me a Champions League move to anywhere," because there's talk that he got offered to Atletico, and Atletico was like, "Yeah, nah, no, thank you."
Mm-hmm.
Running out of clubs to pawn him to. Napoli, didn't he? Try to get him to Napoli as well. Yeah.
Problem is, people know that, one, they're not going to pay him the wages that he wants, and they probably know that his agent is going to take stupid amounts of money plus the wages, and he's not Ronaldo of old anymore. Yeah, he can get you goals, but he can't run anymore. He hasn't got that. That in his game is gone. So yeah, he
can't go and play in MLS, can he? He's not allowed over there. Can't afford another 10 million.
Yeah, but he's not going to leave Man United, because no other club can afford him. Like, the only club that can afford him is probably PSG, and he doesn't fit in. There's no way he fits into that PSG front three unless you get rid of Neymar. But for me, he can't play on the wings anymore. Like, so I mean, the dream would be, I know PSG would love to see sort of Messi, Mbappe, and
that has to happen, though, doesn't it? All them fucks at the same club, and they still can't win the Champions League. Someone asked, who's that girl in the top right corner? I don't know, but she's nice. Let's have a little bit of manliness up there. There we go. Look at that beautiful bastard.
I'm conscious of the time, so I'm just going to run through something really quickly.
The kit? Have we talked about the kit?
No, we haven't. Let's talk about the kits. That black kit, Femi, is a thing of beauty. I mean, we all know everything black is beautiful, don't we, Femi? But that kit is an absolute thing of beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, I've had my eye on that. Oh, look at that. I've had my eye on that. That's probably the players' version. I don't think a lot of us are wearing that.
I couldn't get it over my head.
Speak to yourself, Femi.
Oh, little skinny Josh. And have you got any of those in a medium or a small? Fuck off.
Yeah, I've definitely one of the ones that ordered mine. It was actually sold out on the Adidas website within a couple of hours, and they somehow re-upped it. But yeah, I got mine. It's the first kit that I've bought for about 4 years. That's how nice it is. And
you
not
have a
even
name
just
on the back.
No. I'm a bit
behave yourself.
Beyond that now. Yeah, number 10. Who's number 10? Oh, ESR, yeah, Emile Smith Rowe.
The Femstar,
no,
number 69. John would nod now if he could.
Exactly. He had to say that with his picture in the corner, didn't he? No, it's the whole black range. All the hoodies. They're so expensive, though. I mean, I wanted to get the one that I think Jesus wore on when they were doing his first interview. The one it doesn't look. The thing that's really good about them is you can just wear them. They don't even look like. Some of them don't even look like Arsenal stuff. They just like Adidas, normal Adidas stuff. Like the black and gold range is really, really nice. so many things. I need some hats but 70 quid for a jumper is very steep for me, man. I think it's a bit out of order.
I'll be waiting to find it in the Adidas outlet. In about, I'll be straight down to Gunwolf Keys in about 10 months' time, looking out for the old Arsenal kits.
I've found this, Josh, and I gave it a wash. Would that fit you?
I'm a bit too tall for it, but otherwise,
it's a reversible one. It's from the I can't remember what season that is. That was in my car for about 20 years.
That'd be all right. People won't know if I'm coming or going.
Chris tried it on, but it was too big.
Probably right.
Yeah, I see people talk about the pink kit in the chat as well. Some people, I've got my children have got an eye on the pink kit as well. They don't even want the black one; they want the pink one.
I like the pink one, but I'd look like a blancmange. So I'm not allowed nice things.
Oh, but no, the kits are nice, and I guess, like we were saying earlier, when we lose 3-0 to Crystal Palace, the first game of the season, there'll be another kit launch, just to distract us.
There we go. That's a better picture. Look at those beautiful bastards.
Yeah.
Oh, no, after we lose to Palace, it'll be the all or nothing. They'll bring that out, won't they? They'll bring out a director's cut.
Who did JFK? They'll bring out a director's cut done by him. But who knew that Mikel had a temper on him? He's banging and shouting and screaming.
Of course he has. Like, you see, he was going to beat up Klopp, wasn't he? So of course he's got a temper on him.
I didn't want to say things about our Spanish friends, but they don't half have a temper on them.
I'm watching a women's game now, and they've been going absolutely mental.
Yeah, literally.
It reminds me a little bit like after I've put a message in the WhatsApp group and you lot haven't replied within a minute. That's how Arteta was behaving.
About just quickly about All or Nothing, then we're going to talk to do listeners' questions. So if you've got a question, put it in the chat right now. I guess everyone's going to be watching it. It's going to be, I personally think it's going to be quite a good watch. And I think I didn't watch the Spurs one because I'm not interested in Spurs, no interest in them at all. I think I watched the Juventus one, and I watched, wasn't the first one on Netflix, but I don't think it was called All or Nothing. It was
Sunderland Will I Die.
Sunderland.
Yeah,
very, very good. Toe curling, but good.
Because they didn't expect all that stuff to happen, did they, Sunderland? They thought they would just go into League One and come straight back up, sail the league.
Oh, we'll piss it.
I mean, they must have known that they'd hired basically David Brent to be their chairman.
Who was that? They had those two players, didn't they? The ex Everton player,
Jack Rodwell.
Yeah, he did them dirty. And then they had that other player who was saving their season. And he went, "Oh, I'm fucking off now." They went, "What?" Then they had to pay all that money for someone. He thought, "Hold on, you've got a third tier team here paying what was it, £8 or £9 million for someone?" I went, "We have to now."
Yeah,
that bloke fucked off to France, didn't he?
Ned and Dong. Josh Maja, the striker, went to Bordeaux.
Yeah, how did that work out for him? I don't know.
Not great, from what I remember. Not great. Yeah.
Can someone just go and sign up for that porn thing, please? And then so they fucking leave us alone. There's 73 people watching, Karl. It's like the glory days of ABW again.
Just wait till we, like I said, we do the after game and release 3-0 to Palace on the first game of the season. And then
no one.
Post game.
No. There'll be 300 people here, mate. They love the misery.
That would be crazy. The one thing I'm looking forward to on All or Nothing, just quickly, is I want to see who that training ground fight was between. I mean, I believe that there's training ground fights all the time. I'm sure there is.
Wasn't it Suarez and somebody else?
No, I'm sure it came out at the time, didn't it? It came out at the time who the fight was, but I can't.
Oh, I thought you meant the pre-season one. I don't know.
The fight in the change room.
Avon in the chat is saying Cedric and Laka. I didn't hear about this one.
No, there was definitely one that came out, wasn't there?
Yeah, that was that. Yeah.
Cedric fighting him.
It was a race to the Yeah, I was gonna say it's a race to the to lunchtime. That's what it was.
Oh,
Who could get to the buffet first?
You're laughing a little bit too much at that, Karl.
Do you know what's funny? Like
Everything to do with our club last season.
I don't want to talk ill of players that have gone, but like I watched a little mini season review of someone done on YouTube, I think, and Lacazette was atrocious. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that he was absolutely atrocious. Like I think he got something like 4 goals in 21 games? 2 of those were penalties. One of those wasn't a goal, which was a goal against Wolves when we scored that in the very last minute. Some of the chances that he missed, and I know we're talking about what could have been, and there's probably is no point talking about that. But if we had just had Eddie like from beforehand, that even in like the Palace game, and if we had started in that, because when we had that run of 3 games that we lost, was it Southampton, Brighton and Palace, I believe, when we lost those 3 games in a row. I just think to myself, what might have been different if we had played Eddie in those games? Like, because just one of those games, just one win, we would have made top 4, and we didn't. Like, it was just annoying. And you know, I'm not going to put all the blame on Lacazette because it's a team game. Clearly, it is like blame has to go everywhere in the team. But yeah, Lacazette was like just really bad, like really, really bad, and it's just weird. And then his first game, friendly game for Leon, he scores. Like it's just typical. But did you see they played a friendly game and he was defending a corner and he let the guy literally just leave him and the guy scored a header? Like if that doesn't sound like I said, nothing will. But yeah, but anyway, Danny, do you want to start doing some questions?
I'm just trying to renew our fantasy football, just changing the password. Our password used to be Pat Rice and Peas. What a password that used to be. That was the last account that still had that. Well, there was a number after it as well. I'm not giving you all of our details. Right, questions. Josh, Jimmy H says, the signing of Jesus has been a player. Hold on. The signing of Jesus has a player been taken in by the fans so quick? Fucking hell, Jimmy, do me a favour. I'm struggling enough with it is. At least make it legible.
Go on, Jimmy. It could at least be a comma or a full stop in there to help Danny out.
Let me breathe. I'm a fat bloke.
Yeah.
Can't do an entire sentence.
Have we had a player come in that's had such a warm reception and been taken in by the fans so quickly? Not in memory. I can't think of anybody coming in and having such a... I think we've been so desperate for it as well. I can't think of another player. I don't know if anyone else can.
I think when we signed Aubameyang, I think that was... he loved it. And the last one before, that's probably Mesut Ozil. When we signed Ozil, everyone loved that. Like, it's just the build-up, I guess, that when we signed him. But I think definitely Aubameyang, when he came in, everyone loved it, and then he scored in his debut, didn't he? So and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" Like Aubameyang, he's what we've been looking for ages and ages and ages.
Yeah, I think Forminos has come in with Alexis. Maybe there's another one.
Definitely Alexis, and people were well overhyped about Ozil as well, like you're saying. Right, next question for you, Karl, from Jimmy. See if he's put this one so I can read it. Again, maybe you need a new phone, Jimmy, because there is no full stops, commas, or punctuations at all. Ready? With the club charging to watch the pre-season games yet against Everton, it was free on their site. Why do we mug them fans off so much as a club?
So basically, why Arsenal charging to watch pre-season games? Money, Jimmy, is basically what it is. The club need money, and they know that people are going to pay money to watch the games. Kind of like when Sky were charging during the pandemic to watch these shitty games. They were charging like $12.99.
God, remember that? Oh my god!
Yeah, they were charging $12.99 to watch something like. Know,
yeah, it was a Burnley. It was like a Burnley Everton nothing game.
We had one of those games as well.
Yeah, didn't we have 2 of them?
We lost. We lost as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Wasn't
do
it
remember.
But I think I remember it was like Burnley, West Brom
Yeah,
on
and
a
they were
Friday
charging
night,
to
and I
watch
think
that
six
game,
people. I think 6 people bought it, and they were all in the same place. It's
But yeah,
fuck
it's
yeah.
all about money, Jimmy. That's what it is. But allegedly, this is again, I know no knowledge of this, but someone tells me that if you go on Twitter at the time of the game, there are certain people on Twitter that have the game and stream it. Again, allegedly, this is what I've heard.
We don't condone it either, do we, Karl?
No. But what I'll do, because I'm so against it, if I'm still up, what I'll do is I'll retweet it. And you shouldn't watch this. That's what I'll say. So yeah.
Hopefully, not Popo will see it.
I think the point he makes there about Everton giving it away for free just makes a mockery of what Arsenal did. So you're telling the fans to pay for it, but Everton are giving it for free. So I'd just say, why would I bother to? Everton just got lots of hits that day. They probably their website's never been hit that much in a day before. But I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, I guess they think even if 100 people pay for it, it's 100, whatever, how much, £600 more than they would have had last week.
Who was commentators on there?
It's the Arsenal ones is really not good either.
It's just paying for
Dave
them.
Hillier. Don't say awful. He's brilliant.
Oh yeah. No, the Arsenal ones are fantastic. The best in the world.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Next question. I can get rid of this one, and hopefully this one's got punctuation. No. Femi from Harvey. Do you guys think we're after Yuri Tielemans, or will he go to Man United?
Don't have a clue, mate. It seems Ben Jacobs is a journalist, isn't he? I think he's the Times or something like that. He is adamant, like absolutely. He's the AFC Bell of this season. When it was Partey, AFC Bell said, "Don't worry, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And everyone was like." Even to the last day, everyone was like, "Oh, you stupid account! Delete your account. Get lost." And I think it's pretty much the same thing with this, where I think it's one of those ones that it's exactly like the Partey deal, where Arsenal know they've got everything lined up and they can pull the trigger at any time whatsoever. And it's exactly like Partey. We all thought this guy's lying. Partey is not coming. So there was not even a whisper until deadline day when it was like, oh yeah, Arsenal have gone to the whatever La Liga and slapped down the 45 million on the table. And Atletico
with his briefcase.
Atletico are upset because Arsenal didn't give them a chance. I think wouldn't it be amazing if we didn't give Leicester a chance to sign anyone and we just did it on the last day?
Edu just comes in, leaves all the crumbs from his barbecue because he's come in with barbecue sauce all over his face, and he's just left with a blue shirt covered in barbecue sauce. Oh fucking hell, yeah, whatever, 20 million done
because he's suddenly got a Cockney accent. I've renewed the ABW Fantasy Football League and the secret ABW Members Fantasy League.
I've quit fantasy football.
I'm not doing it.
You're banned, Femi. Full of Spurs
I'm
players.
not doing it this year. Why? Because you can't think of the players.
Ellis is banned.
Do you know what I was going to do?
Femi is banned.
I was going to have 2 teams, but I just thought this thing is just now. Did you notice that now I can't be bothered. It's too expensive to sort out a team, and they've just made it too. Yeah, they've just made it harder and harder, and I just can't be bothered with all that.
It doesn't cost anything, does it?
No, I mean in terms of players,
buying players.
I can't be bothered to try and figure out all this stuff. And you notice that they're trying to make it like a proper. You can get the calendar thing like you get with Arsenal, where it updates. Yeah, now they've got one for that, so it tells you when you've got to set your team by. Yeah.
I'm going to do it, but like do you know what? It's when I remember. Genuinely, that's what it is. Like I usually do it Saturday mornings, unless it's a Friday night game, which the first game of the season I'll probably forget. But yeah, I usually do it on a Saturday morning. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I've got to do my fantasy football, and then do it then. But
I forget after a week.
You just make a team of every ex Arsenal player in it, and then you just leave it.
I just did random players for ours, and we've got Danny Welbeck in ours. I just picked players at random and bang, he's in. Midfield, I think. I don't know. All right, let's move on to another question from Phil Macker for Josh. Who plays more games at left back next season, Tierney or Zinchenko?
Oh. Is this the question of who's the better player or how injured will Tierney get this season?
Mix and match, a bit of both.
Well, I mean, I want to be positive. I really do.
No, you don't.
Tierney is fit for 38 Premier League games, but realistically, he won't be. So I think it will be close. Let's put it that way. I think we could see an even split. But part of me does also suspect that Zinchenko may play more in midfield. Danny, I've got a question for you. Are you tired of being alone? Because someone in the chat will help you.
Oh, hello. Yes, I am.
Come out with four this time. Not even.
I never thought I'd see a grown man, Jimmy, put more porn on Steam. It should be, ooh, more porn. It's like Homer Simpson at the donut bar. More donuts.
So the whole, we've had three, and now he's coming back. He's coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah. They are bloody determined. I mean, maybe we should just go and have a look and see what they're offering. Can we get some kind of a voucher deal going where we get 50% off for whatever? No, people ignore that. It's filth. I nearly tweeted an invite to our APW only one, for fuck's sake.
Oh dear, Danny, having a minute.
Can't get the staff, Josh. Right, where were we? So you've answered that one, so I can unhighlight that, get rid of this. Karl, question from Jimmy's busy man tonight. He says, will it be 10, 20, 20, 25, 25, 30 mil that we get for Pepe, and will it go down as the biggest flop in Arsenal history? Fucking hell.
That's a loaded question, isn't it? Personally, I think we get 10 to 20. I can't see, like Josh and Femi have alluded to, there's no money in Europe, and he's not exactly putting up trees last season, so people are going to want him. So I can't see us getting more. I personally think it's going to be 15 million that we get for him, and that's even then. I personally think whatever club he goes to, we'll be paying part of his wages when he leaves, but we'll never know that. But yeah, that's what I think will happen. Biggest flop in Arsenal history. Ooh, probably only for the price tag. I think there's been worse players than him in Arsenal. William Gallas, flipping awful player for Arsenal. So yeah, there are much worse players that have played for Arsenal, but because
Nicolas
of the price tag, oh, definitely, 100%.
I think there's nothing worse than Willian. I can't think of many.
Yeah, there's Willian as well. Like, there's so many players who.
Jeffers is a good one.
Fanny Jeffers, 10 back then, like 9. We paid 10 million for him, and that's a big price tag.
7.5, but yeah,
like, again,
even Reyes, rest in peace.
Fabinho.
Reyes was a bit of a for the price. Reyes was fine.
He was a warm weather superstar. First half of the season and the last part of the season, he was a genius. The middle part, no, ain't having any of that.
Gervinho, like again, I watched a highlight with Gervinho, and I remember I think it was against Chelsea, where he rounded the goalkeeper and missed an open goal. I can kind of remember watching the game thinking, Bradford. I can't believe how. Yeah, Bradford. I remember that game as well. Did we get knocked out on penalties that game, or did we lose the game? And I remember thinking, is he doing this? I remember thinking, is he doing this on purpose? Because he wasn't just bad, he was awful. Like,
I think the best thing Gervinho did in an Arsenal shirt was punch Joey Barton. Not Jimmy Bullard. That was on his debut, wasn't he? He got sent off for punching Joey Barton.
Yeah.
People have had worse debuts.
Yeah.
I've put our fantasy football in the chat box, people. I'm doing a show. I'm producing it, and I'm sorting out the bloody thing, Karl. Do I get a medal?
You should have done the fantasy. You could have done the fantasy football outside of this podcast, Danny.
Exactly. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. I don't know why he's moaning. Like,
You know, we've
This
got
is
a
why I
question here
don't
for Femi. Femi,
Oh.
Jimmy says, over the years, Stan has been accused of is that double negative, not investing. Now, since he's 100%, can we get off his back as he clearly is investing, or he's fucking winding me up, or letting us spend? I think the
You know
gist
what?
of that is,
I get the gist of it.
Okay.
Do you know? I was thinking about the Cronkies today. I was thinking, imagine a year where we're in America. We haven't even heard about them. Did they attend the game? Are they attending the game tonight? We don't even know. And to be honest, no one cares. I mean,
in
a couple of years
America.
ago when we went to America, Stan was getting booed by the American fans. You know, how things and Josh was coming out with interviews saying, "Oh, be excited, be very excited," and all of this was all around the last trip to America. And this time, who do we know whether they're even at the games? No one cares. Is Stan attending the game in Orlando tonight? Yeah,
You
I
think
don't think
so?
Stan will go. I think
Josh.
probably Josh will go, but I don't
I mean,
think Stan will go.
surely he must be able to attend the game. I mean, we're in
He's
his
too
backyard.
busy polishing
basically.
that Super Bowl trophy.
Oh
He's
yeah,
got to get that
Stanley-
high
the
sheen.
Stanley Cup as well.
Stanley
And the
Cup.
lacrosse one.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So they're
All the
winners now.
trophies.
They want it. Maybe they want to be winners with Arsenal.
Well, that's the first time in American sports history that someone, an ownership, has owned the NHL and the NFL trophy at the same time.
There you go. So maybe they'll get the Europa League trophy as well to add to that. And it'll be the
Glory
first time in
days.
history that someone's had the NFL, the NHL, and the Europa League.
Oh, I don't know. I can't see the Rams winning the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, as I say, by the time the Europa
Yeah.
League trophy's on,
In March.
it's finished, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's true, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but the League Cup though, Femi, there's still time.
Oh, there you go.
There is.
There you go.
Here we go, Karl. One to make you sad. From Phil Macker. What is one decent question of the night? Have City let us take Zinchenko and Jesus as long as we sell them Saka for 120 million? Because there is a Saka-sized hole at Man City, isn't there? Now
There
that
is.
Sterling's
I
gone.
said it on the last podcast. I think there is, but if you look at Arteta's last interview, he said, don't be worried, like it's all in hand. I think, or something to those effects. He used. So I believe that they've obviously been talking to Saka about his contract, and maybe they're just wanting to sign it when they get back, or maybe it's already been signed and they're going to announce it when
But
they
after
get
we
back
lose
to
the first
England.
3 games of the season.
Yeah, you need a feel-good factor, and maybe it's been signed. But if the contract's not been signed, am I worried about that Saka contract? Yes, 100%. I am 100% worried about it, because after this season, he's got 1 more year left of his contract, I think, and that is the worry. And I know that last time he was on the pod, Danny, I think you remember, there was people talking about, should you pay him like copious amounts of money? I mean, at the moment, I think he's on about 30 grand, isn't he? Like a week. And I know like loads of us would love to be on 30 grand a week, but in footballing terms, it's
You
not
nearly
enough,
are.
especially
It's a pay cut for you, isn't it, Karl? That's why you're going on strike.
I wish I was going on strike. Like I want to, but in all seriousness, like surely he looks at people like Pepe and thinks, "How are you getting paid more than me?" And he looks at Emile Smith-Rowe, like how are he's getting paid more than me? You know, people talk, so he knows his worth. So for me, if you give Saka 100,000 a week, 150,000 a week, I don't think that's too much. As long as you sign him up again to a 5-year contract with an option, which will be great for us personally. But
He should probably be the second or third best paid player at the club, based on his status right now. And I don't care how much that is to put him on that figure. I think that's just the way that I'm now deciding to speak about wages. Is I don't care if it's 100 grand or 200 grand. It's about status within the club. And right now, I think he's our third best player. So he should be paid less than Jesus and less than Partey. And that's it. No one else should be paid more than him.
Yeah, I agree. I think he should probably be on par with Jesus. I think Jesus is on what? I think they're talking about 250, I think it is, or something along the lines.
But then don't you see a problem with that though? Not just in general, because every time a player, you said he every time a player gets to 2 years on their contract, you start panicking and putting more money on the table. If he goes to 200 grand a week at age 20, let's say he signs a 5-year deal, that means age 23, he's back at the negotiating table. What's he going to be on? 400 grand at age 23? There's got to be some sort of like, I guess that's all the stuff that goes on in negotiations that takes so long. But I think he'll sign probably when beginning of the season, nearer the end of the transfer window. You know, if it gets towards January, I just don't want the rumors to start. I hate when our big players are, start getting linked with other clubs. I used to hate that with, in the Cesc, Nasri, Van Persie days. That stuff just gives you that anxiety, man.
There's a question here. You can have this one, Josh, from Josh Robinson. Sent it via Twitter, so I've cut and pasted it into our chat. And Josh Robinson 87 on the mighty Twitter says, news tonight that Brighton are in talks with us for getting Tavares on loan for the season. We've already covered that. Why does this make so much sense, and why does it spell the end for Tierney? I'll let you answer that.
Ooh. I think Tavares would come back a lot better player for spending time on loan at Brighton. I think just look at Kukurea. No one was sniffing around him coming out of Spain. Brighton picked him up for 12 million and set to flip him for a 38 million pound profit, maybe even more, because they're not taking less than 50 million for him from City. So I think there's definitely it'll be a good option for him, and he'll kind of have a clear run. It would be between him and Solly March for who's playing left wing back. So yeah, I think there's definitely, it wouldn't spell the end for Tierney this season, but when he comes back, we'll have a stronger left back as an option. Yeah, so I'd be intrigued. The only thing I would caveat it with is a player playing left wing back is a very different thing to an actual left back. I'm sure anyone who, I suppose, watches any Premier League football, would you have Tariq Lamptey playing right back versus him playing right wing back? It's a very different proposition. So yeah, I think there's. Sorry, go Danny.
Do you mean that he's going to have to be more strict with his positional discipline?
As a left back, yeah. As a left wing back, you know that you've got at least two defenders behind you, probably three on the cover, as well as a midfielder that's going to sit in as well and probably sweep up for you. But yeah, anything Arsenal can do to keep sweet with Brighton, so we can go and pick up Alexis McAllister and Caicedo next summer, then yeah, I'm happy to do it.
You've been obsessed with him for a couple of seasons now, haven't you?
Oh, McAllister, I do.
Where does he play? Who would he replace?
It'd be instead of Tielemans, instead of Xhaka, instead of anybody who isn't basically the player that plays next to Odegaard in our single pivot. But he's also right now, at the end of the season, he was playing where Basuma played, so he was sweeping. But yeah, Caicedo, that kid will be on everybody's lips by the end of the season. Kid's absolute gravy and cost absolutely bugger all. But yeah.
Right. Lovely. Question for you, Femi, from Mark says, if we only bought one more player, we can all answer this. If you only bought one more player, who would you want? A midfielder or a striker? Or any other position?
Well, for me, you're going to laugh, but I want a
goalkeeper.
Midfield. Yeah, another one, yeah. No, we've got Runnison. Don't be silly, Danny.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
For me, I want a midfielder because I think, and I've always said, the last few years, Arsenal's midfield has been the biggest issue. There's just something lacking in that midfield, and I like the idea of a Yuri Tielemans or a is it Paqueta? That's where I would go. Just slap that money on the table. Get one.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, one of those two.
Jesus.
So, yeah,
Put yourself on mute, Karl. I thought you were a professional podcaster.
You know what it is? The hay fever tablet's worn off now.
Yeah, central midfield for me.
Karl?
For me, it's got to be a winger someone who can interchange with Saka, because I don't want him playing every single game next season. So we need a right winger and someone that can kind of play on the wing and play up front as well. Because I still think that Jesus and Eddie are too similar of a player. So I like someone tall, but you don't really get tall wingers, do you? That's the thing.
Pepe.
Is Pepe tall?
6'2", isn't he?
No.
Yeah.
Idea.
Pepe. Is he?
When I see him, I'm crying. So I don't know what he looks like.
He is 1.83 meters.
Yeah, so it's about 6'1", 6'2". Jeez. Didn't know he was that tall. Look it.
He isn't a diminutive playmaker. That's why we're trying to get rid of him. There's no height restriction to get into the dressing room. Arteta's cut it right down. If you're above 5'10", you're not coming in.
How about you, Josh? Who do you want?
I was just trying to list out all of our options in midfield to work out whether or not we were still light there. And I guess I probably want another midfielder as well. It's kind of difficult for what that midfielder would do. But again, we know that Eddie isn't the best in build-up play. I expect him to get better with having Jesus as an option for him. But we've also got Martinelli, who I think can fill in as that striker role. So I'd want to bring in just as much creativity into that side. And basically for us to have the problem where, where we're just going, oh, Lacazette, we don't create enough chances for him as well as he's not taking the chances we do give him. We need to be creating more chances, and I want no excuses for our strikers to not be scoring. So for me, that's creating or adding more and more creativity into that midfield. So yeah, bring on the diminutive playmakers.
I want a bastard. I want that big fucker from Sassuolo. He looks like Giroud can do stuff. And Gianluca Scamacca, even his name sounds like someone who's going to come and slit your throat in your sleep. I want him. He's 6'5", 23 years old, banging in goals at all kind of levels, and it looks like it's someone who you're not going to fuck with. Of course, when we need a tattooed mentalist when Xhaka goes. So him, and I think that's the one thing we'd be missing. That'd be great. Bring him on, 20 minutes to go, and then smashing some goals. I think we just need someone up front like that, because we have so many crosses from Tierney in the 3 games a season that he plays, and on the other side, just popping in these crosses. Another dimension to our game, because I'm not sure Balogun's going to be great in the air, and I think that's what we need. Plus, I love a bastard. Like all men love a bastard, like Mickey Flanagan once said. I think that's it. That's all the questions gone.
Lovely. Just want to say, everyone, obviously, give us a like on YouTube. We love it completely. If you're listening on any other platform, Spotify, give us a like. Apple Podcast, give us a like. Anywhere you're listening, just give us a like. It helps us immensely. Josh, thank you. I'm sure you and I will be crying at Arsenal when Zaha scores the 90th minute penalty against Arsenal on Friday when we play them.
Hang on, what? We're playing on Friday? Friday
No, not this Friday. The Friday we played them. Is it like 2 weeks?
He gave Josh a heart attack.
I was like, what the fuck? I was just thinking, I was like, shit, do I have to be at the Amex next weekend?
No, it's like 2 weeks, isn't it?
2 weeks away.
Yeah,
2
it's the
weeks
first
Friday.
weekend of August. I'm sure we'll be breaking it down. There'll be the ABW live inevitably, unless Chris gets on with his manifesto. I'm sure we'll be there to help him out.
Just a quick question to everyone, one word answer. With the current squad we've got now, like with the squad we have right now, where do you think Arsenal finish in the league? Quick fire, Josh.
Above Spurs.
Obviously.
Cheeky.
Danny?
3rd.
Femi?
4th.
Karl?
4th. I think we finished 4th.
I've still got the video of you lot fucking up your predictions from last season. We need to get that sorted. I've done it. Did it months ago. Just need to get you on and play you a kind of like water torture.
Indeed. Femi, thank you for hopping on. We will see each other not next Saturday, the Saturday after at the Seville game.
Yes.
Hold on, you're meeting up again?
Ellis
What's going
is
on
there
here?
as well.
First,
Yeah,
I find
Ellis.
out you've been in one of Karl's many motors. Did he let you sit in the front? Did he let you play with the stereo and things?
What the? Why would
Karl,
Josh be in my car?
I have,
Oh,
yeah.
maybe
Karl,
it's Josh.
it was me. Karl told me to leave him a 5-star review after I left. After I got out.
I knew it was one of you had been in his car. I bet he drives like an absolute lunatic. He drives it like it's on rails. Did you see what I did there?
God.
Sorry, Karl,
Danny,
shut up.
I'm not thanking you because you have to be here because this is your podcast. So, yeah.
You keep saying that. People ain't going to listen to me on my own. Thank you much for hosting, Karl, and organising it. Do you remember when Chris did 2 shows? Last season, he did about 6 pre-season shows. This season, he did 2 before he got bored. Fucking Jurassic
he'll get on.
Park,
I'm sure
part-time.
once Xhaka gets sent off, he's going to want to come in with an emergency podcast. So,
No, it'll be the Saliba loving first. It'll be the Saliba loving.
oh yeah, when he scores the header, in the against
95th
Crystal Palace
minute.
to win the game.
Yeah.
To win the game against Crystal Palace, I'm sure he'll be like, I told you, and then I'm sure Get French football will be saying Saliba is going to go to PSG.
Marseille.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll tweet that. Do you know what made me laugh? That their website went down or something like that, and then I saw the replies. If you read the replies, it's so funny. Everyone was saying, "Oh, you're not going to tweet about Saliba." So you can't tweet about Saliba. It's fucking hilarious. Like people on Twitter really do make me laugh. Like it's quite funny. But yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for listening, everyone. We will be back. I don't know when. Probably I can't do next week. That's for sure. So I leave that to Danny to scream and shout at people to organise a podcast. And hopefully Arsenal. Well, when you're listening to this, Arsenal have won against Orlando, and yeah, Jesus gets a hat trick, and so does Saka, and hopefully Matt Turner gets a hat trick as well. So thank you everyone for listening. Take care, everyone, and bye bye. And as always, #fuck Ellis.